How much difference does all the gear actually make? One of these used all the tools in my arsenal, the other using nothing but what came in the box. Good morning, afternoon or evening everybody, I'm EJB and today we're going to be building these, a pair of Airfix Starter Kit Spitfires. One I will build using only what comes in the box, plus a few household items. The other will be built using an arsenal of modelling gear. How much difference does all the gear make? And is it actually a good kit for beginners? Well, let's find out. First, we're going to have a look at what comes in the kit to see exactly what we're working with. We get a set of decals, a tip sheet which has a list of a load of additional items we might need, an instruction manual, a thick brush, a bag containing the paint and glue, 1 clear sprue and 3 grey sprues. In addition to the kit equipment, I'll be using a pair of scissors and a scalpel. Although I could go old school and start ripping the parts off the sprues, I want to give this build a fair chance against the whole hog version. First thing to do is prepare the sides of the fuselage ready to be stuck together. As always with plane builds, this means we need to paint the cockpit first. It's always good to flick through the instructions and check to see if there's any other interior components that need painting at the same time. We begin with the starter kit approach to removing parts. First, use the scissors to cut the parts off the sprue, leaving some plastic still on the part. Then I use the scalpel to clean it up. I cut off the rest of the plastic and use the blade to scrape it smooth. Fairly simple stuff so far. For the Pro Tool approach, I use a pair of snips. These are easily one of the best tools to get as a beginner. Makes the process a lot easier and can snip pretty close to the part, which aids cleanup time. As before, I then use a scalpel to scrape off the excess plastic, but then use sandpaper to sand smooth. I start with 1200 grit, then use the 2000 grit to get a super smooth edge. Not much between them so far, but it's still very early days. The lower wing and seat is then cut out, then it's on to the first piece of construction. With the starter kit, you get this little tube of cement, and be warned, it comes out fast. I had to clean up the gluey mess I made, then go again, carefully applying the glue and sticking the seat in place. For the Pro Tool construction, I'll be using these Tamiya extra thin and quick dry cement. These make the whole gluing process a lot quicker, neater and easier to control. Now to paint the interiors. I'm going to whiz through this a wee bit as I'll be doing a deep dive into painting later in the series. But for the starter kit model, I paint the interior in the green provided. This colour went down fairly well, unlike some of the other finishes that were provided, but more on that later. I do my best to paint in even strokes, laying down a flat layer of green. For the instrument panel, I simply paint this in the black provided. In an attempt to highlight some of the details, I mix up an acrylic wash. This is simply water with a dash of the black paint. I then go over all the details in the wash. It worked to an extent, giving the details some depth. For the Pro Tools model, I will be airbrushing, starting with a coat of primer. Then onto a spot of pre-shading, followed by a base coat of Cockpit green. The airbrush I'll be using in this series is a Galeri Mobius 3.0. It's my current weapon of choice when it comes to airbrushing and has been a solid addition to my armoury. If you are after a new airbrush or any airbrush accessories, you can get 10% off all Galeri items using the link in the description. The final airbrushed paint layer is a coat of satin varnish. This will protect the paint from the next stage, which is an oil wash. This is very similar to an acrylic wash, except uses oil paint and white spirit instead. This has a much slower drying time and allows a lot more control over acrylics. The last weathering process is adding a worn shine using this weathering master from Tamiya. And the final part to the cockpit is painting the instrument panel black. this time using this water-based acrylic paint from Vallejo. These are my go-to for all brushwork. And that's the interiors done. Not the most detailed cockpits in the world, but you won't be able to see much through the canopy anyway. Now we are ready to glue the two halves of the fuselage together. It's always good to dry fit first, just in case any adjustment is required to get a close fit. Then it's a case of being extra careful with the tube of cement to A, not create a giant mess, and B, not get any on my fingers. If that happens, you can create fingerprints in the model, which can be a nightmare to get rid of. The halves are then put together and I hold it tight while it cures. I put a little extra along the seams. This just acts as a makeshift filler. Once the glue is fully cured, I start scraping it down with a scalpel. First I cut off the excess, then scrape down the edges with the blade. This is arguably the most important part of any plane build, cleaning up the seams. I always think it's better to lose a little bit of detail and have a smooth seam rather than have a massive eyesore. It can really stand out once it's painted. I keep scraping over all the seams until they are smooth. Some of the lost detail we can get back by carving in the detail with the knife. That's pretty much all we can do with what's provided in the kit. It's actually not too bad, and you can get a decent result just with a scalpel. Onto the Pro Tools version now, and the gluing here is pretty similar. I start by applying extra thin cement to all the edges, and then hold the two pieces together. I add tape to the top edge, then use the quick dry cement along the seams. This will give it a strong permanent hold. I can then add more tape to the top just to hold it in place while it fully cures. If you're enjoying the series so far, please do remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons and let me know your thoughts in the comments. For cleaning the seam, I start with a rough sandpaper, just trying to sand the edges as smooth as possible. This takes a bit of work over all the areas. I'm not aiming for perfection here, just getting it close. Some areas require a bit of scraping with the scalpel, because the ledge is just a little bit too big. I get it as close as possible, then I come in with the AK putty. I apply a small amount with a cocktail stick all the way down all of the seams. This will fill in all of the gaps and enable me to get a super smooth surface. I only fill the areas that need it. The top surface was pretty smooth already, so I didn't worry about it. Once the putty is fully cured, I can then start cutting off the excess with a scalpel. I don't cut too deep here, just enough to get the main bulk of it off. Then I come in with a heavy grit sandpaper, smoothing it down until most of it is gone. Then I come in with a fine grit to fully smooth the surface. You can see the small amounts of putty left over. This is just filling in the small gaps and dents. Finally, like I did before, I re-scribed some of the detail. You can actually get a proper tool for this, which will make the job a lot easier. But here I just cut it and then go over with some cement. This just smooths it down a tad. And that's the hardest part of any plane build done. It should be pretty plain building from here on out. Well, that's what I thought. I started by gluing these propeller components together and, well, they didn't fit. The pin was way too tight and it would have left me with a really loose propeller blade. Luckily, I managed to pull them apart before the glue cured, but that's a lesson to always dry fit the parts. Next, I had to scrape down the part to make it fit. It's a bit of a faff, especially if you are building this as a beginner. I glued them back together and it fitted. Finally. This is fitted without any glue and then is clamped in place by the engine cover. I also found a little hack of using this dodgy glue. Decanting it onto a cocktail stick makes the process a hell of a lot easier and cleaner. The whole process is repeated on the Pro variant. It's a pretty similar process, just using different glue. Next is time for the wing construction. It's pretty simple stuff, and the same on both models. The only difference is, on the Pro model, I used the quick dry cement afterwards to give it an instant hold. Then I use a little bit of tape on the inside just to hold down that bit which keeps wanting to spring open. To clean up the wings, one I clean with a scalpel and the other I use sandpaper. Now we are ready to stick the fuselage to the wings. Again, it's pretty similar stuff here, except using different glues. The fitment on this kit has generally been pretty good, although my beginner's kit Spitfire had a little gap by the engine cover, and it left a horrible gap by one of the wings for some reason. This is probably my building, I would imagine, because the other one was absolutely fine. I tried filling it with a bit of glue, which didn't really work. The tail wings are then fitted to the rear of the plane. These go on with relative ease. As always, a slight little bit of adjustment required, just to make sure they line up properly. Now we're on to the final small details of the plane. Most of these are fitted to the underside. Again, with relative ease, everything fitted perfectly, and just done using the two different sorts of glue. As for the rest of the components, like the propeller and landing gear, I'll put these aside for painting later on. I always find it's easier to paint these things separately and then fit them at the end. And that's the main bulk of the building complete. Both looking pretty good so far, apart from that horrible gap in the starter kit's wing. The final thing to fit is the canopy. For the starter kit version, as is hand painted, I just fit this straight away. But for the whole hog version, this will be airbrushed, so it requires masking. To do this, I cut up a piece of Tamiya masking tape into loads of tiny little strips and carefully mask off the frame on the canopy. This is quite a fiddly task and does take a fair bit of time. Not as long as some 48 kits I might add, but still it is a bit fiddly and not the most fun task in the world. For the front window, I mask it up and carefully cut out the window frame. Then I use a cocktail stick to carefully push in the edges. Now the canopy can be fitted in place. It's quite clever how the Airfix kits work. It requires no glue, which is great when using clear parts. It simply clips into place. And that is it for this episode. They're both looking quite good so far, and not a massive amount of difference between them. I suppose the tools at this stage is just making it easier to build, but the real difference will come in the next episode when we crack on with the painting. If you have enjoyed the video or found it at all helpful, then please do hit those like and subscribe buttons. And one more thing to sell from me, I do have a limited amount of commissions open at the moment, so hit me up on my email. But for now, farewell, hope to see you next time, and happy modelling everybody.